in March. Carol?
All right, Jeff Zeleny reporting. Thank you. There is a reason Hillary Clinton is fighting to be the rightful heir to President Obama. He is astoundingly popular in South Carolina among African-American voters. According to an NBC Marist poll, Obama's approval rating among African-Americans in South Carolina is a whopping 92%. Clinton's favorability rating among African-Americans in South Carolina is 74% to Sanders' 17%. And John Lewis, the civil rights icon, did not help Sanders close the gap.
Well, to be very frank, I don't want to cut you off, but I never saw him. I never met him. I would chair the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee for 3 years, from 1963 to 1966. I was involved in the sit-ins, the Freedom Ride, the March on Washington, the March from Selma to Montgomery, and directed the voter education project for 6 years. But I met Hillary Clinton. I met President Clinton.
All right, let's talk about this and more. I'm joined by Jason Johnson, professor of political science and politics editor at TheRoot.com, and Aaron Bilbray, a Democratic National Committee superdelegate and Bernie Sanders supporter. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Jason, before we get into the Lewis versus Sanders battle, let's talk President Obama. Mrs. Clinton is embracing him. Sanders is trying to. Why is this important, and is it effective?
Look, Carol, if Hillary hugs Obama any tighter, I think like Michelle's going to get involved. Like it's gotten ridiculous. I mean, she's just said everything that Obama ever did is fantastic. And the reason is because he's not just popular with African-American Democrats, he's extremely popular with Democrats in general. And the Clinton campaign has made a calculated risk that even amongst independents, that connecting yourself to the positive aspects of the Obama administration is somehow going to end up playing out well for her. So she's going to keep hugging him the whole time. It's been very clear throughout most of this campaign.
All right. So, Aaron, you're a Sanders supporter. Does Mr. Obama enter into the equation for you?
Well, you know, obviously, we as Democrats are very proud of our first black president. But this race is about the future. This race is between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And I thought it was a little overdone last night. I want to hear what they're talking about. I want to hear more about their differences. And I frankly thought Bernie Sanders did a better job of giving us the vision of America when he's elected president.
Although I will say, Jason, that Hillary Clinton challenged Bernie Sanders in a measured tone this time, not in the tone she did during the last debate, and some people said that was effective.
Well, yeah, she did. I mean, she pointed out the fact that, you know, Sanders has criticized President Obama. Sanders suggested that Obama, should be primaried in 2012. She's continued to sort of promote, I think, this myth that Bernie Sanders is going to tear down the Affordable Care Act and start it from the beginning because liberals didn't get everything they want. I don't think her attacks on Sanders as someone who's going to destroy the Obama legacy are necessarily all that effective. I think Clinton is much more effective when she points out that Bernie Sanders, there may be some weaknesses in his foreign policy. There may be some questions about his time and commitment to, say, African-American or Latino-American voters. I think those are more substantive critiques. But the idea that he's going to destroy everything Obama's done if he's elected president, that's completely not true.
Okay, I want to go to the John Lewis thing, Aaron, because I think it's fair, because Bernie Sanders' camp did respond to that. His camp says he did participate in the civil rights movement, even participating in the March on Washington. This is very harsh criticism coming from John Lewis, though, Aaron. Could it hurt Bernie Sanders?
Well, you know, Congressman Lewis is one of the greatest living civil rights icons in America. There's no question what he went through and what he has done. These are amazing things. I think the real issue at hand is that we as Democrats have two candidates that are fighting to say who is going to work harder for civil rights in this country, while the Republican Party is talking about building walls. I mean, there's a huge difference between our party and the Republican Party, and I think it's a positive thing that we're fighting about who's better on civil rights.
So Jason, I'll pose that question to you. You saw that stat from the NBC Marist poll that Clinton is leading Sanders among support from African Americans in South Carolina by, look at that, 74% to 17%. So how can Sanders overcome that?
Oh, he's not going to. He's not going to. And that, Carol, is why this John Lewis thing comes into play. The Sanders campaign has had to go back to the 1950s to say, well, I marched with King, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, tons of people march with King. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a connection to the concern of African-American voters today. And that's why you've seen, say, both campaigns running around trying to get the endorsements of, like, Trayvon Martin's mother or Eric Garner's family or things like that. Because there's this disconnect between the Clinton campaign and the Sanders campaign with black voters, they're all chasing these sort of symbolic connections. But I think they both really have to show policy-wise, what do they have to offer the black community other than just symbols and black and white photos from where they supposedly marched with somebody.
All right, I have to leave it there. Jason Johnson, Aaron Bilbray, thanks to both of you.